specific answers. Respectful dialogue is required. Community voices matters as much as political power. Leadership should be measured not by growth in profits or projects, but by whether families can stay, grow, and thrive. Now we will have round one, housing and community stability. Each candidate will be allowed to give an answer. 2 minutes.
Going up, and people really, that's the first step for like generational wealth, and folks are not able to do that because of the housing market. So I will advocate for there to be some protections for folks that they can get those programs, partner with organizations such as like a Neighbor Works here in Waco, that right down the street, a Neighbor Works, and some other nonprofit organizations that work actively with our government, but as well as our communities, to ensure that we have those homes set aside.
Good evening again. As we talk about affordable housing, I think specifically about this district and this neighborhood. We've seen a lot of developments, people moving in, but you don't know necessarily what's happening. You don't know who's in charge of the project and where the money is coming from. I believe that's a lack of communication and transparency. So the very first thing I would do is talk about policies that not only are discussed in council, but are discussed with community, being able to get community feedback. What type of businesses do you want? What type of housing do you want? I've been able to sit into rooms and look at some of the development plans where we're talking about mixed-use houses, where there's a storefront on the bottom and maybe some houses on top, or maybe a townhome. Are these the things that you want? And so I think when we talk about policies, it has to be things that, number one, talk about the character and the history of the neighborhood. We don't want to see, and I think we've seen some of the rental properties that have come up in our community. Again, I won't say any names. Yes, I will. Ameritech. But being able to have a garage, have a fence around your yard. There are certain things that we as a community want. And so when we see someone, as my good friend here just said, that may buy up the block and put in corporate type houses or different things, and there's no leadership or voice, or I would even say a plan in place that says before you can come set up, you have to come speak to our community. Before we do something new and we're going to spend this amount of money, we want to have a community listening session. And so for me, thank you, sir. I also want to make sure that not just the housing options are there, the opportunities. Home ownership is a big thing, and not everybody's able to take that on. So maybe you want something flexible, but beyond that, you want it to be affordable. So I think the root cause that we address is generational wealth building, where people are financially so they can live where they want to live, they can keep up with inflation, and they can be skilled in the workforce. Our kids can have businesses, and we can support the legacy businesses that we have in our community now. Thank you.
What budget priorities would you change to support families?
So the beautiful thing about this panel right here is that you're getting every level of government, and when Janessa was here, you had a conversation at state level. So federal priorities are very different than state priorities, than city priorities and county priorities. They have to be. So, the budget that supports family for the city of Waco is its entire budget, because all of the things affect how your family is run. From your making sure your water is clean and that we're doing effective usage of the dollars to manage these streets, to make sure public safety is a priority, that your police and fire are there and available and good at their jobs when you call them, to make sure that that there are opportunities for housing expansion and things, and those are priority. But me personally, since I kind of have been on big projects in the 8 years that I've served on council, it was a priority for me to get a bank in East Waco, which changed the financial literacy ability in our families, in my families for sure, and we were able to accomplish that. We were able to move our recreation center to the historic Paul Quinn campus and reopen the indoor pool, which benefits families, and we were able to do that within the budget. We were able to finally open the Bledsoe Miller Steam Center, which if y'all haven't been, go. That affects families because our audience is K to great. So from our babies to our elders, and including the work of Miss K and the women in agriculture doing work there, My final priority as we enter into this next tenure is health as a childcare. We have to find provision in our budget to, as we incentivize businesses to also provide adequate childcare, because that is a failing part of our community. We don't have enough adequate childcare. So that's the priority for this year's budget for me.
I would have to echo Councilmember Bearfield. I think every decision that we make with the budget will be to benefit families in our community. I think as far as priorities, we have to prioritize our small businesses. I think if we don't have a strong economic base, Precinct 2 will continue to come in dead last. So we have to undergird them with small business grant programs that are county backed. We hear a lot of talk about working with our youth, and I believe in it, but I also don't believe that you have to wait until you get in position to work with our youth. We do have after school programs. We do have mentorship programs, because I founded a mentorship program for kids in our community. So also, I think a priority is mental health. We have to be able to provide solid mental health services within McLennan County that frees up our jails, that keeps our kids from a cycle of poverty and imprisonment, that breaks the prison or school to prison pipeline. And what I want you to hear too is these are not just promises that I'm making, but this is work that I've participated in for years in our community, boots on the ground and in leadership position, making sure that our kids have the best opportunities, making sure that our families have the best opportunities, and making sure that our organizations have what they need to provide excellent service right here in McLennan County.
We're gonna have this vigil in a park, and we want the board to be there. And I'll be there. The rest of the board members took me into closed session and said, oh, no, you won't, because you will make us liable, you will make us look bad, you'll make the district look bad. And I said, if that's your main concern, you're in the wrong business. I showed up. That is what I do. I show up, I do the work, and I am accountable to the people that I serve. Thank you.
It's a weird thing. That's what we do. And that's what I want to continue to do as a constable. Being part of the solution, not the problem. That's one of my biggest standpoints. And I talk about it with my kids all the time. And you know, we try to put them forward. We try to put them in positions to be active. I can't talk about it if I'm not putting it in action. And so that's what I'm here to do. Also, put it in action. But
accountability. That's a good one. 30 years ago, when I stood in front of the pastor of Good Samaritan Baptist Church, and I took my vows to my wife, I was all in at that point, committed. Whatever I do, I'm committed to doing all in, no in between. I've served on the city council in Bellevue for 10 years. I've been on that dais when no one was in the room. After I just got off from teaching and empowering, going back to our young men and women and coaching. But I still came to the meeting because that's what the people elected me to do. I'm a people person, I'm passionate about helping, and I want everybody to do better, because I was taught that you leave a place better than once you found it.
Thank you for making the trip up.